Have you ever wondered if something that feels intimate could also be unsafe? Not because of rumors or myths, but because no one ever really explains the facts. I'm Dr. Sophie Morgan, a board-certified urologist with over 10 years of experience helping men restore vitality, circulation, and confidence naturally. And today, we're going to talk about one of the most whispered questions in men's health, one that many of my patients have wanted to ask, but never dared to say out loud. They'll lean forward in my office, lower their voices, and finally whisper, "Doctor, is it actually safe to swallow vaginal fluids during oral intimacy?" It's the kind of question that sounds simple, but carries layers of worry, curiosity, and even guilt. Some men assume it's unhealthy. Others wonder if it's strange to even think about it. And yet, these private concerns quietly shape confidence, trust, and connection in a relationship. Here's the truth. Intimacy should never feel confusing or shameful. When you understand the science of the human body, what once felt awkward becomes something you can talk about openly with calm respect and confidence. Before we dive in, I want to know, where are you watching from today? Type your city or country in the comments. I love seeing this community of men from the United States, Australia, Kenya, Norway, and Bangladesh coming together to reclaim their vitality. Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever held back during intimacy because of worry about safety, smell, or taste? Type yes or no in the comments. You'd be surprised how many men share the same hesitation. Here's what most men don't realize, and what I discovered after 10 years of clinical practice shocked even me. The confusion around this topic isn't about lack of information. It's about myths that have been repeated so many times they've become accepted as truth. And myth number 3, the one 90% of men get completely wrong, I'll reveal at the 5-minute mark. Because once you understand that one, everything else falls into place. But first, let's start with the biology. Vaginal fluids are not dirty. They're one of nature's most brilliant designs, created by the female body to protect delicate tissue, prevent infection, and make intimacy more comfortable for both partners. According to research from the Cleveland Clinic and the Mayo Clinic, healthy vaginal lubrication is mostly water combined with amino acids, enzymes, and natural protective compounds. But here's where it gets interesting. Think of it this way. Just as your saliva helps protect your mouth by keeping it clean, her natural fluids do the same for the reproductive system. They balance pH, keep bacteria in check, and even contain lactobacillus, friendly bacteria that maintain health. The same beneficial bacteria found in yogurt. So what you may have thought of as something mysterious or risky is actually a sign of a healthy, functioning body. Now you might be thinking, okay, doctor, but what about the smell? What about the taste? Doesn't that mean something's wrong? And that's exactly where the first myth lives. Let me break it down. Myth number 1. The taste or smell automatically means something is wrong. Listen carefully. Just like your sweat, saliva, or breath can change based on diet, hydration, and hormones, the same is true here. If your partner had coffee, garlic, alcohol, or certain spices, that can alter the scent or flavor slightly. If she's well hydrated or eats more fruit, it can smell or taste different. These natural variations are completely normal. The Cleveland Clinic notes that slight changes in pH, stress, or medications can influence this balance. Only if there's a strong, foul odor or visible irritation should it raise concern. And even then, it's usually a simple bacterial imbalance. But here's what no doctor will tell you, and this is critical. Most men react to these normal variations with panic or withdrawal. They make a face, they pull back, they avoid the conversation entirely, and that single reaction creates more damage to intimacy than any biological factor ever could. Because when your partner senses judgment, her body responds. Trust decreases, comfort decreases, and the very connection you're trying to build starts to break down. Quick question. If you agree that understanding biology removes fear, type the number 1 in the comments. If you think this topic should still stay private, type 0. I'm curious where this community stands. Now, here's myth number 2, and it's dangerous because it sounds so reasonable. Some men think, well, if it's natural, it must be 100% safe no matter what. And that's where things get complicated. While vaginal fluids themselves are protective in a healthy partner, they can still transmit infections if either partner carries one. Diseases like chlamydia, gonorrhea, herpes, or HIV can spread through oral contact, though the risk is much lower than other forms of intimacy. But here's what shocked me after years of practice. The biggest risk isn't the biology, it's the silence. Men who avoid talking about testing, who assume everything is fine, who think bringing it up will kill the mood, those are the men who end up in my office months later with preventable problems. And that brings us to the moment I promised you, myth number 3, the one that 90% of men get completely wrong. Are you ready? Here it is. Most men believe that talking about health testing or hygiene with a partner is a sign of mistrust or suspicion, that it's unromantic, that it ruins intimacy. That couldn't be further from the truth. Real confidence doesn't come from pretending everything is fine. It comes from knowing. And here's the breakthrough. Couples who get tested together, who talk openly about health and comfort, report higher levels of trust, openness, and satisfaction than couples who avoid the conversation. It's the opposite of unromantic. It's one of the most caring, mature things you can do. Let me tell you about Richard. He was 67, recently widowed after 40 years of marriage. When he started dating again, he came to me terrified. He said, "Doctor, I don't want her to think I'm accusing her of something. How do I bring up testing without destroying the connection we're building?" And I told him exactly what I'm telling you now. You say, "I care about both of us being safe and comfortable. Would you like to get tested together?" Richard took that advice, and you know what happened? His partner looked at him and said, "No one has ever asked me that so respectfully." That's when I knew I could trust you. That one conversation built more intimacy than any technique or performance ever could. Now, some of you might be thinking, "Doctor, that's all great in theory, but how do I actually have this conversation without it feeling awkward?" And that's exactly what I want to show you next, because there's a specific communication framework that makes this effortless, even enjoyable. If you think communication is the most important factor in safety, type 3 in the comments. If you think testing and hygiene matter more, type 4. Let me see where you stand. Here's the framework. It's simple, but powerful. First, timing matters. Don't bring this up during intimacy. Bring it up during a calm, connected moment. Over dinner, during a walk, in bed, but not when things are heating up. Second, lead with care, not suspicion. Instead of, "Have you been tested?" say, "I want both of us to feel completely safe and comfortable. Can we talk about getting tested together?" That small shift in language changes everything. Third, practice mutual hygiene as a ritual, not a checklist. Showering together before intimacy isn't just about cleanliness. It's about presence, about slowing down, about showing your partner that you care about the experience, not just the outcome. And here's the bonus that most men miss. When your partner drinks enough water throughout the day, her natural lubrication becomes lighter, smoother, more balanced. The same goes for you. Good hydration improves circulation, which directly impacts sensitivity and performance. Fruits like pineapple, strawberries, and citrus may naturally enhance the body's scent and taste because of their antioxidant content. So yes, sharing a fruit smoothie before intimacy isn't just romantic, it's biologically helpful. But here's where everything connects. Remember what I said at the beginning about fear replacing confidence? Let me tell you about Carlos. He was 55, married for over 30 years. He loved his wife deeply, but for years they'd stopped being intimate. Not because they didn't care for each other, but because Carlos had developed quiet anxieties from things he'd seen online. He began to worry that oral intimacy might harm his health. That fear grew into avoidance, and that avoidance slowly turned into distance. His wife, confused and hurt, thought he'd lost interest. When he finally came to see me, he said something I'll never forget. "Doctor, I didn't realize how fear could take away something so human." We talked about everything we've discussed today. The biology, the myths, the communication, and within weeks, Carlos began changing his mindset. He and his wife started with small steps, more communication, shared showers, rebuilding comfort without pressure, and slowly the fear faded. A few months later, he sent me a message. "Thank you. I feel like I got my marriage back. Here's what I want you to understand. This isn't just about safety. It's about connection. Because when a woman feels truly accepted, her body, her uniqueness, her rhythm, something incredible happens. Her comfort deepens, her trust expands, and your connection grows in ways no supplement or technique could ever create." Think of intimacy like breathing. You don't think about every inhale or exhale. It's natural, rhythmic, vital. But when fear enters, you start to hold your breath. You tense up. You lose your rhythm. Fear makes men hold their breath emotionally. But once you understand the truth, you can exhale again, fully, confidently, freely. So here's my challenge for you tonight. If you're in a relationship, talk with your partner. Ask what makes her feel safe, confident, or appreciated. If you're single, reflect on how you can bring more openness into your next relationship. You'll be amazed how quickly fear disappears when communication takes its place. What did you learn today? Was it the science, the communication, or the mindset? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. Make sure to like this video if you found it helpful, because every click helps more men find trustworthy, shame-free information. Subscribe if you haven't already, because here we talk about real issues: circulation, vitality, confidence, and everything that keeps you strong and connected for decades to come. And remember this: you are not too old to learn. You are not too old to feel. You are not too old to connect. Age doesn't take away your right to intimacy. It gives you the wisdom to experience it fully. I'm Dr. Sophie Morgan, reminding you that your health is your confidence is your connection, and passion has no expiration date. Take care of yourself, take care of your partner, and I'll see you in the next video.